Okay. All right, everyone. Welcome everyone to our practice today, and welcome to those who are new to the space. If you're new, um, please, if you want, it's optional, of course. Just introduce yourself in the chat, so we just get a sense of who's in the space tonight. But regardless, it's good to have everyone here. As usual, too, please feel free to also go through and begin to offer any prayer requests or any prayer updates if there's for any people, situations we've been praying for. If there's any updates, please just, add those to the chat box as well. Um, and let's see, what else? I'm really, I know we're, more than likely in different parts of the world and, um, tuning in, but for me, I've been really, um, really interested in just the energy of spring. So the energy of spring, this energy of awakening, this energy of transitioning from winter into spring. So transitioning from, a state of resting, of hibernation, of being inward, and now transitioning into a state of just awakening, getting moving. This is the energy, the time of birth, renewal. Um, this is this is the preparation for the summer. So sometimes I think of spring as getting ready for the efficiency and movement of summer. Um, I think it's incredibly important for us to attune ourselves to the seasons, and to lean into the energy of the seasons. I think this is a part of the work um, of sustainability, of connecting more deeply to the earth means we connect to the. Sometimes I think of like, this is probably maybe weird to say, but sometimes I think of weather as the consciousness or the emotional um, energy of the land, of the earth. Um, I don't know, I'm just saying that because I feel, when I think particularly about weather, I feel a lot of emotional energy in weather. It's interesting, yeah, something to think about. Um, but tuning in to this energy, it's energy that's there for us to rely on, to lean in, and that it begins to reorient our lives when we tune in to that energy. Um, and I've been doing this, for I would say the past 10 years, consciously doing it for 10 years, of just really just living with the seasons, um, like leaning into to the energy of the seasons. So right now, leaning into this awakening, um, understanding that there's also healing associated, with this kind of opening to the energy of seasons. Um, and I think this, of course, this transition of seasons is happening within a larger arc of things, in a larger arc of transition and change, which I often call the apocalypse. So this is happening within an arc, right? And this arc is intense, tremendous change, intense, tremendous loss, disruption, that we're still trying to make sense of, and maybe we won't ever make sense. of everything that we've gone through, I just think sometimes the practice is just showing up and holding space for whatever it is that's arising in the moment. Um, so as we transition into spring, we're also still moving through intense change. And how do we ask the energy of the seasons to support us, to help us? How do we see the blessings of Medicine Buddha within this transition of seasons as well? So we're in this, we're in Passover now, and this is Easter. Well, still Lent. So I think Lent is over, on Sunday. And we'll start Ramadan in April 13th, I think, April 13th or 14th. Um, so these are how a lot of spiritual past religions, traditions are marking also this shift as well. So, maybe some of it is coincidental, but there's a shift here. We move into the festival, the observance of Ostara, um, who is this kind of English Germanic goddess of spring, whose festival was absorbed into Easter. So Jesus showed up and stole, all of her rituals and all these things that, for those of us who are, particularly in Christian denominations, if you grew up Christian and, not even if you grew up Christian, but there are just really common symbols of Ostara's festival and ritual observance for spring, which includes, eggs, Easter eggs, right? And candy and rabbits and flowers, pastel colors, light colors. Like those were traditionally part of this ancient goddess festival that we call Easter now. Um, and so that's an awakening for me. Um, Years ago, well, not years ago, it was only maybe 3 years ago. Some of you, I'm pretty sure, I bet one of you in the space, you were with me in England at Gaia House. Um, I used to always be in England around Easter, or in Europe in Easter for the past couple of years up until last year, um, obviously. But, um, oh, and Holi was last week too in India as well. And Lama Justin and I were in India for Holi the year before last. I didn't get, I didn't get the colors or anything, so I don't get dirty like that anywhere. It's like, don't walk around like throwing, dust at me. Um, Anyhow, that's a whole another thing. But that was a really wonderful festival. I'm getting sidetracked. But Gaia House, yeah, we celebrated a star one year on retreat. Um, they, maybe the retreat center didn't know that's what we were doing. Um, um, I'm very much known for showing up in insight spaces and starting to talk about deities and goddesses and tantra. I think partially, insight spaces invite me intentionally to disrupt practice by talking about deities. Anyhow, um, so that the goddess, feminine, divine, sacred, divine, conscious energy of spring is so associated with the awakening of the goddess for me. Of the mother of Tara. You know, um, of Astara. Um, so all this energy is happening right now, and for me, I this is so welcomed. I know many of you are living in climates that's still like an ice block. I know, um, but in this land, it's very much spring. But just Even, you know, what are our rituals, for connecting to energy? And that's all we're doing in this space. I know some of you have been here from the beginning. I guess we're moving on to a year of this space. I have to double check when we started um, doing this, but we're almost a year into doing Medicine Buddha, which I intended just to be, just a short-term practice just to get us through the pandemic, and we're still, in the pandemic. Um, but yeah, like what are our rituals to connect to energy? These are why rituals and ceremonies are really important because they create the containers and the causes and conditions for us to start relating to experiences that seem so abstract and so foreign to us, but they create the container for us to start relating to energies, to deities, and deities are just energies. Like we're just energies. Deities are energies. The world is energy. The phenomenal world is just an expression of energy. That often we don't know how to be in a relationship to magic. Magic is just, it's just a methodology to be in a relationship to the phenomenal world and to shape the phenomenal world around our aspirations. You know, the same thing is said of tantric practice. Is what we're doing tantric practice. Where we're developing rituals and moving through rituals in order to shape the world, to shape phenomenal reality. When we pray, we're engaging in a shaping of phenomenal reality, but that shaping is is itself informed by what we call bodhicitta. And bodhicitta is this wish for all beings to be liberated, to be free. Right? Bodhicitta is the conversation between wisdom and compassion. So when we bring clarity and care into union, that creates an energetic force that we can't resist. It's irresistible. You know, I think it was Tony Cat Bambara who first used the phrase irresistible movements. Um, so the awakening of bodhicitta is an irresistible, movement, realization, and we can't resist not being a part of the awakening of beings. Um, the more you see, the harder it becomes to remain inactive. So just to give that a little more nuance, like it's absolutely, of course, it's absolutely possible to see a whole bunch of stuff and not do anything, you know. So again, compassion comes into this because compassion is what moves wisdom into action. You know, compassion makes wisdom move. It ushers compassion ushers wisdom into movement, right? Um, so when we see it, and then when compassion comes, when we start developing compassion, which is an intentional empathy with the suffering of the world and suffering of people, including our suffering, then we say, oh my God, no one wants to experience this, right? And you've seen how beings are suffering through the development of wisdom. Then that becomes an irresistible movement of itself. That irresistible movement moves us into the awakening of bodhicitta. We also can call bodhicitta the awakening of consciousness, of our consciousness. Um, I'm not pronouncing consciousness. I'm having a hard time pronouncing that these days. Consciousness, consciousness. Um, yeah, this irresistible movement. I see spring sometimes as this irresistible movement, this sweet, luscious, fluid, irresistible movement into awakening, um, into birthing, right? Into giving life, into being life, into living. And I know that like living isn't like this cold, glamorous thing for some of us. It's not. I think sometimes it's like, oh, living should be this really exciting, romantic, you know, thing, and it can be, but for some of us, it's not, and we want to honor that. We actually want to just recognize that. Yeah, for some of us, life is struggle, but in reality, really, realistically, all of us struggle in this realm, in this body, in this life. That is the nature of the human realm, of the human world. It's the nature. It's the nature of the work for any being in these six realms that make up samsara. The gods, the demigods, the humans, animals, hell realm beings, hungry ghosts. Like these are the six realms that we're moving in and within until we achieve this kind of liberation, or until we achieve some level of realization that helps us understand the illusion of this cycle of being that we call samsara. And then when we have that little bit of insight, then our fixation on the cycle is disrupted and we get ejected, into the experience of clarity. Now I know this is calling for a matrix reference, and I'm going to have to do that reference right now. Um, and just like Neo, who took the pill, I forget it was either red or blue, who knows? Took the blue, I think it was blue, who knows? I know one of you is going to correct me. Took the pill and got disrupted out of the matrix, which we call samsara. But, the thing is, if we apply just more Buddhist philosophy to the movie, it was all samsara. Anyway, you just got booted out of one layer of samsara into another layer of samsara, right? But the movie is a great metaphor for the bodhisattva journey and for the hero's journey too. Um, so, what am I saying in general? What I'm saying in general is that we will continue the work of opening to energy and moving energy and being with energy and allowing this energy to shape much more welcoming realities for us. You can't do that without labor. You know, you have to, there has to be work. Work, 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 right? It has to be work. Um, so this is the work, sitting and moving and praying and dreaming and meditating and supplicating, right? It's imagining the deity. It's opening our hearts and opening our minds. It's offering the pain, it's offering the trauma. Because pain and trauma are all too still just energies. Recognizing that it's just energy. It feels solid, it feels hard and stuck, but it's still just energy. And there are an inexhaustible number of modalities in the world that helps us to move energy. And it's just a few that we practice. It's just a drop in the bucket. So many ways for us to be in a fluid movement relationship with energy. which is exciting. It's irresistible. This becomes so irresistible. These irresistible movements of energy. So we're just gonna start um, with just to start with just sitting. In the same way I guess we've started already. And we'll just start moving through our work tonight. And let's begin just by bringing attention to the weight of our bodies and the seat under us, that sensation of the body making contact with the seat. This experience of gravity that's holding our bodies to the seat. I wonder if you can just let the seat take care of you. If you can let this anchor of the seat and the body, the sensation, really take care of you. And for those of you who follow me in and out of different spaces, you know that one of my practices is asking a meditation anchor to take care of me. So this anchor of the body making contact with the seat, the sensation of feeling grounded, held by the seat, noticing that sensation, and then directly asking that sensation to take care of you. Please take care of me. But as we ask to be cared for, we have to also do the work of allowing ourselves to be cared for. We can do all kinds of tremendous work, beautiful energy work, and but if we're not vulnerable, open to receiving the blessings, the change, the energy, then it's hard for that work to really flourish for us if we're always blocking. And for many of us, we struggle with that. Like we struggle to be cared for. We struggle to ask for care. We feel as if we don't deserve to be cared for. We sometimes feel that what we need, our needs, are not important. We're going to start surfacing some of these attitudes, these beliefs that we hold, that resistance. There are these beautiful, irresistible movements, and then there are these resistances. Resistance to bodhicitta. We don't want to empathize. With people. There are people we don't want to be free. There are people we've judged who we feel as if they don't deserve to be free. Right? And that's not our right. It's actually counterintuitive to this irresistible movement. That disrupts the irresistible movement. It doesn't matter who someone is. All beings deserve to be free. ultimately, yes, ultimate liberation, all of us deserve to be free because ultimately we are free. We're just trying to remember that. And being free doesn't mean that you're not held accountable. And that's the work that some of you have to do as well. People can still be free and also can still be held accountable. So as we surface these attitudes, these beliefs, we want to hold this within space. And we hold this within space by not reacting. We're just noticing. And we're seeing it, we're noticing it. And maybe we begin to feel it, to experience these attitudes. So we're not thinking about, this belief that I don't deserve to be careful, but we're beginning to experience what that exactly is. And as we begin to experience, you begin to notice that these are composite experiences. These are experiences full of all kinds of data, and that data is suggesting that there are multiple things happening in one attitude, and that one attitude is just a thought, and the other attitude is just a thought. These are just thoughts that we believe in. But to start disrupting the power of our thoughts, we have to engage, we have to start experiencing the thoughts. Again, it's like clouds passing through the sky, right? We look up at the sky and we think, oh, clouds, they're real, they're real, right? They're in the relative, so they're real in the relative. But we look at them and we think they're solid, and we can, stand on them. If we can get up higher enough, many of us thought that when we were young kids, young children, right? We could live in the clouds. It reminds me of Les Miserables. Um, oh, by the way, I'm gay and I like musicals. By the way, in case you didn't realize that, and Les Mis, Eponine, she's a little girl, sings this song. There's a castle on a cloud. But when you move out of that childhood fantasy, you see the science of the cloud. The cloud is just little particles, droplets of water, moisture. They're held together, creating this illusion of a mass that we call a cloud. That's the same thing with a thought. We get close to it by experiencing. Experiencing means we lean into that cloud and begin to feel it. Not think about it, feel it. We begin to relate to the energy. And then we begin to see all the particles of this experience. All the little sub thoughts, perhaps, and these other small narratives that are bound together to create the illusion of just one thought that I don't deserve to be cared for. What does that really mean? But feeling it is how we unravel the power of that. And it's not that any of this goes away. Where your goal shouldn't be to erase this, to wipe the mind clean, because that's not what we're doing. That is not the point of contemplative practice or if any meditative tradition or someone says the point is to clear the mind of this, then let's just say, honey, you're in danger, right? Because that's not the point. That's counterintuitive to the nature of the mind. and what we're training in. We're training to become aware and to recognize the space that's naturally present within and around everything in the mind and everything within phenomenal reality. That's all we're doing. So it doesn't go away. But the space is taking care of it. So this is incredibly important. Let the space take care of holding. I'm not holding anything. The space is holding everything. I'm just allowing space to do what it is always doing. And regardless of the times in which I'm showing up or not, oh, sorry, regardless of the ways in which I'm showing up or not, there's space always holding everything. Now, in this space, begin calling in the energy that you need to do this really intense, deep emotional labor. Which benefactors do you need? Do you need your full homecoming circle? Do you need the earth? Do you need your teachers and guides? Do you need whomever? For me, too, it's important that we also begin to turn our minds into the energy of spring, energy of awakening. And as we turn our attention into that, that's just going to be energy that you're going to have to kind of connect to or identify in a way with it that's appropriate for you. But when when we say, okay, I'm going to focus on the energy of spring, where does your attention land? What is your attention touching? What does that energy feel like? And just to share my experience of touching into that energy, it feels like a lot of movement. I feel the energy of things creating, blossoming. There's a energy, I feel the energy. Um, well, in my mind, the images are light. Like there's a light that's slowly beginning to radiate, to turn on. So this awakening, this creation, this movement from dark into light. Letting those images, this energy just begin to really be present around you. Whatever images and visions that we're getting, it's just an interpretation, an expression of energy around us. What are you smelling? Right. What are you tasting? So use your senses as well, all the senses to connect to energy. And as I connect to this energy, I'm also ref- imagining that this energy is also the enlightened consciousness of Medicine Buddha. And when I imagine that energy is Medicine Buddha, or you can imagine it depending on your practice, that this awakening spring energy is the goddess, is the mother. Is Tara, Achinrezi as well. So you might as well keep going. It could be Demeter, Persephone, um, Oshun. It could feel like Lakshmi. Wherever that energy is, connecting to it, allowing that energy to be, and slowly, whenever you're ready, imagining absorbing that awakening, bright, living energy into the body. And one way that I do that is imagining as I inhale that I'm inhaling through every pore opening in my body. A deep inhale through everything. I'm inhaling through every pore of my body. I'm deeply drinking in this energy, this awakened, sacred, divine energy of spring around me. And you can't exhaust it. You can't drink it all up. So this is like you're being flooded with this sweet, irresistible energy. And let it enliven you. Let it awaken you. Let it hold you as you move deep into this energy, into this world, deep into this emotional labor. So holding these thoughts, these beliefs, these attitudes that I don't deserve the care, holding that, noticing that, letting it be, and at the same time deeply drinking in, absorbing this energy, this awakened energy around us. So it's like you keep some awareness around the thought, and if you keep some awareness around the thought of what you don't deserve, it's less likely you'll react to that thought, disrupting the receiving of care and that energy from around you. So as long as you know that that thought is there and you're not reacting, you're just allowing the space to hold it, we can do this tremendous work of deeply absorbing this energy of spring. So as you inhale deeply from all the pores of your body, drinking deeply this energy, as we exhale, letting go of any tension, any tightness, any fear, any doubt, any hesitance that we have around the care that we're receiving. So we're letting that go. We're offering. We're making an offering of this doubt and anxiety into the space around us. So we're letting go of what we don't need as we accept what we do need from the space around us. And if the breath is too much to work with, again, just imagining this taking in of energy and the offering of what you don't need outward. If the breath is something that you're able to work with, really just breathing, just really breathing deeply and fully through the practice. Just making sounds like a soft H sound, right? Breathing into the nose, out of the mouth, but we're also imagining breathing in through every pore of the body at the same time. So lining up the physicality of the breath with the imagined process of the breath. So I want to move us into our mantra, and as we move into our mantra, I'm holding the prayer request too as well. You can do that as well in your practice. But I'll be offering the prayers as we move along as well. So Teata Bekenze, Maha Bekenze, Ratsa Sumungate Soha. O Teata Bekenze, Maha Bekenze, Ratsa Sumungate Soha. Teata Bekenze, Bekenze, Ma Bekenze, Raza Sumunga Tesoa. Teata Bekenze, Bekenze, Ma Bekenze, Raza Sumunga Tesoa. Teata Bekenze, Bekenze, Ma Bekenze, Raza Sumunga Tesoa. Teata 백연세 마백연세 라서 수문가데 소아 제야타 백연세 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 백연세 begenze, raza sumangare soa. Deata begenze, begenze, ma 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 begenze, raza sumangare soa. And for the next part of our mantra practice, so shifting that energy, you can stay right, absorbing, drinking in energy. I think many of you would benefit from staying there. But if you want, to just move in a little different direction, we can start actually imagining that the energy of spring begins to actually help benefit those whom we're offering prayers for, and the situations and the things happening in the country and around the world. If you want to get huge about this, everything that's happening in all the worlds and all the times and all the realms and dimensions, which is fathomless, and overwhelming, but we can still send energy into those places. As well, we can say wherever there's conflict and war, disease, suffering, trauma, I send this energy of spring, of the goddess, of medicine Buddha into those places. Right? And you can feel the movement of that energy. You can often feel it in your heart center, right? In the heart chakra, right? You can feel energy moving. That's the heart chakra links the upper chakras and the bottom chakras. We say that the heart chakra links heaven and earth together. So there's a lot of sensitivity to the movement of energy between both the relative and the ultimate. Just suggesting. So we'll continue the second part of our mantra doing this new practice or staying where we're at. Okay? Hoseata begenze, begenze, maha begenze, rasa sumngare soa. Seata begenze, begenze, maha begenze, rasa sumngare soa. Seata begenze, begenze, ma begenze, rasa sumangare soa. Seata begenze, begenze, ma begenze, rasa sumangare soa. Seata begenze, begenze, ma begenze, rasa sumangare soa. Seata begenze, begenze, maha 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 begenze, rasa sumangare soa. Seata begenze, begenze, ma 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 begenze, begenze, ma begenze, azumangare soa. Teata 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 begenze, begenze, ma begenze, azumangare soa. So taking in one last deep inhale, absorbing, drinking in of energy of spring around us. Holding our breath, as we hold our breath, holding that energy, imagining that this energy really begins to take root, beginning to really fill our bodies. And then exhaling. And we're imagining that that energy of spring is just staying, that we've cleared out this pathway, that we can always return back to this energy, this awakened energy around us. And I make a special prayer and aspiration that this energy that we've connected to, that it stays with you for as long as it can, throughout the days to come until we meet again in practice. May it sustain you, may it hold you, may you always remember that you can turn your mind back to this energy whenever you need it and allow it to allow yourself to give yourself permission to absorb it, to drink deeply from it. Right, so we turn our attention to our Sashanti Deva's prayer, and we will recite this 3 times to close our practice. We begin. May I be a protector to those without protection, a leader for those who journey, and a boat, a bridge, a passage for those desiring the further shore. May the pain of every living creature be completely cleared away. May I be the doctor and the medicine, and may I be the nurse for all sick beings in the world until everyone is healed. just like space and the great elements such as earth. May I always support the life of all the boundless creatures, and until they pass away from pain, may I also be the source of life for all the realms of beings that reach into the ends of space. May I be a protector to those without protection, a leader for those who journey, and a boat, a bridge, a passage for those desiring the further shore. May the pain of every living creature be completely cleared away. May I be the doctor and the medicine, and may I be the nurse for all sick beings in the world until everyone is healed. Just like space and the great elements such as earth, may I always support the life of all the boundless creatures, and until they pass away from pain, may I also be the source of life for all the realms of varied beings that reach into the ends of space. And finally, may I be a protector to those without protection, a leader for those who journey in a boat, a bridge, a passage for those desiring the further shore. May the pain of every living creature be completely cleared away. May I be the doctor and the medicine, and may I be the nurse for all sick beings in the world until everyone is healed. Just like space and the great elements such as earth, may I always support the life of all the boundless creatures, and until they pass away from pain, may I also be the source of life for all the realms of varied beings that reach into the ends of space. Thank you all so much for your practice. May you all be well and blessed. May all those we've been lifting up in prayer be supported and guided to wellness, be guided into the resources that they need in order to be well, and to be guided into the bardo, the spirit realm, as they leave this realm for the next. Right. Thank you, everyone, for your practice. And I'll hope to see you again in other programs this week as well. All right. Thank you, everyone. Please be well. Please take care of yourself. Okay. Thank you, everyone.